Hi guys, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the full review for this Moto Edge 30 Pro smartphone. And guys, I told you I'll post the review before the first sale. I'm sorry, today is 4th and today is the first. Actually, I was waiting for the first OTA update on the smartphone to come, because generally what I've noticed is that with first OTA update, the general behavior of the phone generally changes. But sadly, I didn't get the first OTA update yet. So this review is based on the last 2 weeks of usage of the smartphone. I've already posted the unboxing video of the smartphone. Watch that for general overview. Here we'll go over my experience, and in fact I have a lot of notes, almost 3 pages worth of notes. So we'll go over all the aspects of this phone. What did I like? What are the things that I did not like? And this smartphone is making a lot of waves here in India, because as of now, this has to be the most affordable smartphone that comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, which is the flagship processor from Qualcomm. And this is sort of the value flagship. Yes, it has some of its shortcomings, but it also has its strength, because now it's made to a certain price point. The regular price of this one is about 50,000 rupees in India, but right now they're running an offer. If you have a SBI card, you get it for 45,000. So that's regarding the pricing. So let's break it down between the pros and cons and what do I feel about the phone. And this video can be a little bit long, so at the end of this video I'll also give you my summary. What do I feel about this smartphone, because I have been using a lot of flagship smartphones. So where does this fit in and for what kind of user it is? So if you just want to directly jump to the summary, it'll be the last part of the video. But again, I urge you to watch the entire video, otherwise you will not understand what I'm talking about. So let's start with the pros and cons, and first let's talk about the good things that I like about this phone. And guys, here are, before we just proceed, here are all the specs for this smartphone. And on paper, as you can see, the specs actually look to be pretty good on this smartphone. But again, every smartphone has its pros and cons. Even the flagships like the iPhone 13 Pro or even the other flagships from Samsung that I have, they also have a con. So this one also has some cons. So let's go over it. And first, let's talk about the good things, then we'll move to the things that I did not like. And there are some silly things that I have noticed on this smartphone. The first thing is, this is a relatively large phone, a 6.7-inch screen that you are getting on this, but I like the AMOLED screen that actually Motorola is giving. It's a very good panel. It's a full HD plus, but this is 144 Hz refresh rate. That's why everything is very, very smooth on this smartphone. And in fact, the colors and the video also pop on this one, because this is a true 10-bit panel, not an 8-bit panel. So the quality of the screen, what they have given, I was worried about that. It's a very good screen. You don't have to worry. In fact, I'm actually now been testing some true flagships, but in terms of screen quality, I would say it's very good. The only nitpicking that I have here, again, I wouldn't call it strictly con, but nitpicking, is that the maximum brightness is just 700 nits, whereas on flagships generally it's over 1000 nits. So what does that mean? In indoor situations like this, as you can see, I'm half brightness, I'm very, very comfortable. But outdoors in direct sunlight, sometimes I have to actually squint the screen like this. For example, if you know, I've been doing a lot of riding and I mount the phones on my bike. When about 3 days ago I was driving around about 11:30, direct sun, so I had to tilt it a little bit to see what was on the screen. So that's the small nitpick that I have, but apart from that, good quality screen that you're getting. Next thing is, again, this is again tied to the screen and the processor. It's super fluid, one of the most fluid Android experience, I would say. It's 144 Hz, not 120, and I'm noticing that difference. But some of the other phones that I'm testing are with 120, and in fact I just left it on 144 Hz, guys, and again it handles it very well. And again, because of the screen and the processor, it's one of the smoothest fluid experience that you are getting. Again, it's completely stock Android, no bloatware or anything. That also helps, and I think so that brings to the overall experience of this phone. There is nothing that's hogging in the background or something extra stuff like that. So that way I like it. There is some extra stuff. For example, again, it's a Motorola phone, so they have some gestures and stuff like this. If you do double chop, this comes. If you twist, the camera comes. Those are there, but apart from that, no bloatware or anything. So a very clean stock Android experience you're getting without ads, bloatware, and that's an important thing, because many of the smartphones in this price range are putting a lot of bloatware. Anyways, let's move to the next thing that I liked is I also like the in-hand feel. Strangely, on this one, this does not feel that heavy for a 6.7-inch screen phone, and I've used a lot of phones. If I recall, it weighs just 197 grams on this one, and I also like the back is slightly rounded over here, so it doesn't dig in your hands and it's comfortable to hold. I also like the fact that the back, this is actually glass, guys. This is not plastic. This is actually glass. So I like it's glass, and it's resisting the fingerprints to an extent. As you can see, I'm using it without the case. You do get a case in the box, but this resists this. So I like that it's not plastic. Plastic gives a cheaper feel. This is glass that you are getting. And it's comfortable to hold, though it's a big phone, 197 grams if I recall. Okay, next thing, and there is also a con I'll talk about in the later part of the con section about this one. I think so because of that they could bring down the weight to this 197, but that is a con. Anyways, let's move to the next thing, and this is regarding, many of you have asked me about how is the network reception on this one, and here I would say I'm still, my Airtel primary SIM is in this one, and the network reception has been very, very good. It has the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and the modem used on this one is among the best. It's the best on Android, and that reflects in network reception. For example, in this area, where this is the new area where I'm staying, the signal is never good here. It's generally between 1 and 3 bars, and many times with many of the other phones, if I take the calls here, it gets garbled or gets disconnected. That was not the case with this one. I could take calls sitting in this room, and in fact the network reception is good. Some of you have even asked me, what about carrier aggregation? Yes, it has carrier aggregation, and it also has 5G. 13 bands of 5G also are supported on this one. In fact, I also tested mobile data speeds on this one. It does support carrier aggregation, and let me actually show you some of the screenshots I've taken. For example, let's go to speedtest.net. And if I go to, and in fact the Wi-Fi performance was also good. If I go to results, okay, the first one is with my Wi-Fi connection. As you can see, we got download of 695 and 531. This is among the best. I generally get a max of about 720, 730. Let's test it because Wi-Fi is inconsistent. Let's just test it and see how it is. It's connected to my Wi-Fi. And I'll also show you, as you can see that, yeah, Wi-Fi obviously, yeah, 580, 590, 600 it touched. Max I have seen in this going above, like in some of the other phones, 720 for the downloads. Uploads, yeah, it fluctuates. So good Wi-Fi performance. Many of you were asking about Wi-Fi performance. Wi-Fi performance, I did not have an issue. And regarding this, notice this 93 megabyte. This is on LTE, that is on 4G connection. So on 4G connection also, you can get very fast speeds like 93 megabyte download. This I got in my old office. My old office is located in the heart of the city. There I did that test and I got 93 megabyte download and upload 25. In this area, again, as I've told you, the signal is not good and downloads just about 20 and 5.2. So needless to say, in terms of network reception, you will not have a problem with this smartphone. The network reception is a lot stronger, and this is having the best modem that Qualcomm can give that you're getting on this one. So no issues regarding that. And also let's also talk about the call quality on this one. The call quality was very good. I did not have any issues with the call quality. No issues of proximity sensor even on very, very long calls. I have taken some calls that were over 40 minutes and I did not have any proximity sensor issue. So that way it is sorted. Because this one also does not have a 3.5mm headphone jack. So I had to actually use a Bluetooth with a bunch of headsets and whatever. The Bluetooth, the performance is actually really good. Let me actually show you. I paired it with quite a few Bluetooth devices to test how is the Bluetooth performance. And let's go. If I go over here and if I hit here, as you can see, it's currently paired with my smartwatch. Also, this is the Garmin Fenix 7, and this is always connected, guys. And again, I also tested it with various other devices, like even with my BMW, I tested it with the Android CarPlay wirelessly, and even with the wireless Android, it worked actually very well. That is a problem generally with some of the smartphones. Here, it performed brilliantly. In fact, I tested with this one. This is the Yamaha ones and some other Sony headphones also. Bluetooth was not an issue. The Bluetooth range was good and I did not have any connectivity issues. It also has stereo speakers. Fortunately, yes, this comes with stereo speakers, and if you've seen my unboxing video, the stereo speakers performance is good. I don't have complaints. It's not the best and the loudest. That would go to the ROG Phone 5 or the iPhone 13 Pro, or even the new, what do you say, Samsung S22 Ultra. It's slightly more louder, but this will get a solid 8.5 out of 10. No complaints that I had. Okay, let's move to the next thing, and this is regarding the battery on this one. I was actually skeptical about the battery life because this is the first smartphone that I'm testing with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and I was skeptical, but I have to say the battery life is pretty decent on this one. This one relatively is having a slightly larger capacity battery life for a flagship, 4800 milliamp hour. Generally in many of the other phones we are hovering about 4500 milliamp hour for this screen size, and the battery life has been actually good. Let me actually show you some screenshots. And in fact, let's look at what we are getting right now. This is at what, 77%. I had charged it in the morning and I've been just using it normally. We should be a couple of hours. If I go over here, where is the battery? And again, notice how smooth it is here because of the 144 hertz, very smooth. And by the way, it comes with Android 12 out of the box. Okay, where we were in, where is that battery? Battery. Yeah, here. If we go to battery usage. So it says about 3 hours of the charger. Yes, around 7 o'clock in the morning I took it off the charger, and it is right now at 77%, so used about 23% battery life. And let's see, the screen on time is 1 hour 58 minutes, so you can say roughly about 2 hours of screen on time we have got with about 23% battery life. But this is just the regular one. Let me actually show you the actual battery stats that I am getting. I have saved the screenshot, so you have to go to Google Photo for this one, and I was just looking at it. Yes, so here as you can see, it was at 9% battery life, and with just 24 hours of usage. This is not like typical 15 to 18 hours. For example, people leave morning at 7 o'clock and they come at night at about they put their phones at charger at 11 or 12 o'clock at night. I'm not doing that. I'm using it at least for 24 hours. So as you can see, 24 hours of the charger, and we got what do you say, screen on time of 5 hours 48 minutes, and still 9% was there. And so this is the typical I'm getting, about 5 to 6 hours of battery life. Here it was 16%, and 4 hours 3 minutes. This was actually okay. This is a very interesting test. Here what I did is I did not use it with Wi-Fi at all. I was just using it on mobile data most of the time, and as you see here, the actually mobile signal is not that good. So here I got a little bit less battery life. And okay, here it was at what, 11% and 4 hours 17 minutes. This was also again mostly on, what do you say, mobile data. And this was an interesting test, 3% again over 1 day, and we got 4 hours 45 minutes. So with a typical day's usage, guys, you can expect a battery life of about 5 to 6 hours of SOT on this one, and this is slightly better than the recent what do you say, sort of value flagships that I've used. That was the OnePlus 9 RT. This is giving me slightly better battery life, and also very similar to the Galaxy S21 FE. So expect about 5 to 6 hours of SOT with the typical days of usage. This is the stuff that we get with general flagship. In fact, I would say it's slightly better, about 30 odd minutes compared to most of the flagships that I have used. So battery life is okay. You can easily last for a typical full day, but don't expect 2 days of battery life. One thing I noticed is that one day, Saturday, in fact, I didn't charge. I skipped it because it was not a heavy day. The idle drain is not that much on this one. So that way, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 does not consume that much battery when it's idle. So stand by if you're not using too much, not a heavy user, maybe you'll get about 2 days. Okay, some of you have also asked me about haptic feedback, and I would say the haptic feedback is good, but not among the best. For example, ROG 5S and the iPhones or even the Samsung flagships definitely have better haptics, but the haptics are not bad on this one. I frankly didn't have that much expectations. Again, I have to rate the haptic feedback. That's the vibration on this one. I would rate it about 8 out of 10. So gets the job done. And but it's not among the best, but I didn't mind it. Okay, next thing is regarding gaming, guys. I'll be very frank, I have generally now stopped gaming that much, so I didn't game that much, but I did play Call of Duty. I did install it. In fact, I have actually taken some screenshots on this one. So basically, if you want to know about gaming, a lot of gaming, see, I did play Call of Duty on this one. Check with other reviewers who play a lot of games. I must have played just about 20-25 minutes and it was fine. And the good thing is that, as you can see, I was coming first on that game. I played a couple of games and I could play it on the highest setting, highest high frame rates and all this thing. Then also I did not have a problem. It was very, very smooth. The handset got slightly warm here after about 20-25 minutes, but that was the normal behavior that I'm noticing with other flagship. I did not notice excessive heating on this smartphone even after playing about 25 minutes of Call of Duty. Regarding that comes to regarding heating and in day-to-day performance, guys, while just using the phone, I did not notice any excessive heating or something like that. Yes, the phone gets slightly warm. That I noticed even with the OnePlus 9RT or the S21 FE. So it was just like that, but no excessive heating that I noticed, that I was also worried about. So the only time that I noticed that it was in my pocket and it got a little bit of warm, and that was because I think so I was in an area and the phone was in my pocket. There was almost no signal, so I think so it was just hunting for the signal for half an hour, and there I noticed that it became a little bit warm and hot to touch here. But apart from that regular operations, I did not notice any excessive heating on this smartphone. This is just like typical flagship. And some of you have asked me in the Twitter, this heats up less than the S21 Ultra. Okay, some of you asked me, so I have to answer that. Anyways, so yeah, heating, I was also super worried, will it get super hot or you can't use it with daily usage? No, that was not an issue. Also, I completely forgot, the speakers are good enough as it's stereo speakers. I even took some calls via the speakerphone and the quality was good on this one. Some of the benchmarks, let me show you. I'm not a firm believer of benchmarks, but again, as this was one of the first smartphones with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, I was also curious, so I ran some benchmarks. So let's look at it. I think so I saved it again. We have to go to Google Photos. I hope I saved it. Yeah, I saved it. This is the Geekbench 5, and as you can see, single score, we are getting a 1178 and the multi-core 3531. In fact, this is very close to the Snapdragon 888 Plus. I was expecting a little bit more, but yeah, this is what I got. And this is with the PC Mark, what do you say, for Android, and we got a performance score of 15,570. That means like it's pretty good, fast enough, you don't have to worry, and that's my experience with this one. Now let's talk about the cameras on this one. Back we have a triple camera setup. The good thing is that the main two cameras are 50 megapixel, and lastly we have the rubbish 2 megapixel, that's for depth. I don't know, they should have just omitted this camera or they should have given a telephoto lens. The front facing camera is weird. This is actually a 60 megapixel front facing camera, and here are some of the camera sample shots that I have taken with this one so that you get a better idea. First sample taken in natural lighting, and here as you can see it actually does a very good job. These are taken with the regular lens. This is the wide angle lens, and wide angle also we have a lot of detail because of 50 megapixel, and outdoor shots as you can see come out really good. Now moving to semi indoor lighting conditions, here also I felt that in artificial lighting it did actually pretty good. I was not expecting that much, but as you can see it did a pretty decent job even in artificial lighting. Now it was sort of evening sunset conditions, and these are some of the samples that I took. This was after sunset. This is a regular shot. This is ultra wide. Ultra wide is a little weak at night, but these are regular shots taken in the normal mode, and you be a judge. Pretty low lighting as you can see, and this was taken in an area where we had very less lighting. It looks a lot brighter in the picture. In fact, very low lighting condition. This is a snap that I took myself, and these snaps, if you notice, there is slight blur. I asked my daughter to take it and she was just clicking and just moving. You have to wait for 2 seconds in very low lighting conditions. Moving to the front facing camera, the front facing camera was a pleasant surprise to me. These are regular shots, and this was in the portrait bokeh mode, and I feel the front facing camera is actually doing a far better job than what I expected. Shooting the video with this Moto at 4K by default, it is actually at full HD, but you can toggle between 4K and even 8K. 8K does not make any sense, so this is in 4K, and as you can see I'm just walking around, so hopefully stabilization is also at play. And one thing I noticed that you can't switch to ultra wide while recording 4K like this, but hopefully this is the detail. For some reason in full HD, the quality was not good on my unit, but I haven't noticed that with any other reviewers complaining about that. But this was in 4K. Guys, recording the video with the Motorola 30 Pro, and this is with the front facing camera, but I've noticed that the front facing camera also you can set to 4K. So here I've set the video to 4K and I'm just walking vlog style. So what do you feel about the video quality? Do note guys, this is not full HD, but this was shot in 4K. So guys, these were the good things about this device. Now let's move to the con section on this one. And the first con that I have with this one is again, the back is glass. This is not plastic, guys. This is glass. This back is also glass. But this frame that we call of the phone is not made of metal or steel or aluminum like we have on other flagship. This is actually made of fiberglass, they say. So they should have actually given metallic frame, I would say. Motorola says this is more better than plastic. It's not plastic, but still I would say considering that this cost almost 50,000, they should have given a metal frame. So no metal frame on this one. And I think so because of that, they're able to keep the weight below that 200 grams, though it's a big phone at 6.7-inch screen. Okay, I'm moving to the next point, and that is this 2 megapixel, man. Why do you have this 2 megapixel? Instead of this, you could have given a telephoto lens that would have improved the camera performance immensely, especially in portrait mode. So I hate this trend of 2 megapixel now creeping even into what do you say, value flagship smartphones. And regarding the IP rating, fortunately this has IP rating, IP52. In fact, the iQOO 9 Pro, that's at 65,000, does not even have any IP rating. So I'm happy that at least it has that IP52 rating, so it's splash proof. And I did splash a little bit of water on this one and it survived. But this is not IP68 like we expect on flagship. So there they did a little bit of cost cutting. Next thing is regarding the storage. Here, Motorola has, I don't know, released only one variant of this smartphone that comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM. RAM, I have no issues because memory management was very good. I did not have any issues with memory management on this phone. I completely forgot to mention that's a Pro. Excellent memory management, and apps that need to be there in memory are there in memory. You don't have to worry about that. So excellent memory management. 8 gigabytes of RAM is not an issue because it's a stock Android phone without any bloatware. So 8 gigabytes of RAM was enough. But the storage is only 128 gigabytes. And we don't even have a variant of 256 gigabytes. So I feel that that's a missed opportunity on the smartphone. And this smartphone also does not have any micro SD card. So that is something you have to note. I personally am okay with 128 gigabytes of storage because most of my stuff is on cloud. So that is not an issue. But I can understand some users who have a lot of storage requirements. This will be a disappointment for them. I hope in the future, looking at this feedback, they release a variant with that 256 gigabytes because internationally that's available. And if you have noticed the camera samples that I was talking about, in basically low lighting areas, the portrait mode simply is not good. It's, I think so, hardly optimized. I simply did not like any snaps that I took in low lighting with the portrait mode. And conversely, if in very, very harsh lighting situation also, I think so the HDR, though the HDR was set to auto, I don't think so the HDR is working. Look at this snap. You would say this lamp looks pretty cool, nice. But notice that the background is completely blown away. So HDR optimization, they really need to work on this. And I hope with the first OT update, they work on some of these things, and they can definitely improve the camera performance by post-processing. I just hope they do that. Anyways, let's move to the next one. And this is something again I noticed. This one is a HDR screen, and in YouTube HDR works, even on Amazon Prime it works. But for some reason, if I go to Netflix, where is this Netflix? I had installed it. And just notice how fast this phone is. Everything loads very, very fast on this phone. If I go to app settings and if I go to download, playback specifications. Yes, wide one L1 support is there. That's not an issue. So it will play in HD or whatever. But HDR capabilities, it says none on Netflix. So Motorola really needs to work with Netflix to enable this one because the hardware is there. The hardware is there, it's supporting Netflix, but the Netflix app is not supporting HDR. And Motorola needs to work with Netflix to enable that. And I have no excuse because other flagships like Samsung, etc., do work with Netflix to enable that. So they should actually do that. And next thing is regarding the video quality. If you have noticed, guys, with the rear facing camera, and I think, I don't know if this is prevalent, but only I noticed this one, and it's there on my unit. When I'm shooting the videos at the default 1080p mode, the video quality is rubbish. One of the worst that I've seen on a modern smartphone, I would say. The quality is rubbish. But when I up the video quality to 4K, it is excellent. So there is something wrong with 1080p video quality, or maybe it's just my unit that is behaving erratically. Strangely, the 1080p video, if I shoot from the front facing camera, it's actually really good, and even the 4K video is very good. So I don't know what is the issue with that 1080p regular video, and check with others, guys, if how's the quality of 1080p video with their unit. It might be just the issue with my unit. Back also we have Gorilla Glass, and front also we have Gorilla Glass, but for some reason the back back glass, this one is Gorilla Glass 5, whereas the front is Gorilla Glass 3. This is weird. Both should have been Gorilla Glass 5 in my frank opinion. So that is also something that I have noticed. And lastly is regarding the Android updates. I like the fact that this phone comes out of the box with Android 12. That's the latest, so it's very, very good. And Motorola has already promised next 2 major Android updates. So Android 13 and 14 we'll be getting, and 3 years of Android security updates. That's actually good, because if you notice, some of the earlier Motorola phones, they were just promising 1 Android update. So it's an improvement, I would say. Now they are offering 2 Android updates, but I feel Motorola should offer 3 major Android updates, because the competition in this range, in fact even OnePlus is offering that. So I hope they update that policy, and that will be really, really good. And also I feel Motorola should be a little bit more proactive with their updates. They release their updates, but generally it's a little bit slow. I hope it changes with this unit. So guys, these were some of the cons and the nitpickings that I have with the smartphone. But now let me actually bring my laptop over here, and let me actually read the conclusion and thoughts that I had while using this phone for the past 2 weeks. So let me just read it. I penned it down so that I don't forget it. So let me just read it. So this is the conclusion that I have. This is a value flagship. So there are some cost cuttings, as I have mentioned, and it's not perfect. I like the fact that it still does not have ads or bloatware, which indirectly adds to the cost of the phone. Manufacturers actually get a payment if they add bloatware, so that way they can lower the cost. But here we don't have any ads or bloatware on this phone, and I like it. And the UI is very similar to stock Android, and it gives you that pixel kind of vibes when I was using this phone. That is the vibe that I got. If camera is your highest concern, then look at the S22 series or even the S21 FE 5G that has a better rear facing camera. And if I would rate the, people are asking me how do I rate the camera of this one, and let's say if I rate the camera of the Samsung Galaxy S22 as 10 on 10, with the rear facing camera, I would rate this one currently as 7 out of 10, and the front facing camera I would rate it as 8.5 out of 10. It really struggles in the portrait mode and dull lighting, and also in that very harsh lighting sometimes the HDR is simply not working properly. Still, I would say I consider this overall phone as a very good phone for typical professionals or business users. I like that the performance of the phone is very good. It is one of the most fluid smartphone experience that I had recently, and that 144 Hertz refresh rate works very well. No lag or anything that I have noticed. So one of the smoothest Android phones that I have used recently. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 handles it well. I did not notice any excessive heating with regular usage of the phone. Yes, it gets a little bit warm, but that's the normal that I've seen with even other flagships. But I did not notice that excessive heating. The only time, as I've told you, I noticed that heating was when the signal was hardly there, 1 bar going on and off. I think so it was continuously searching for the network, and it became actually pretty hard. That's the only time that I have noticed it. I've been actually now using this phone with my primary SIM, that is Airtel, for the last 2 weeks, and I have some way more expensive flagship phones lying around with me, but still I didn't move my primary SIM, that is Airtel, in those phones. That shows how fluid and how well this phone gets the basics right. I feel this is the most close to the Pixel-like experience, that is the stock Android experience that we are getting in India, because looks like Google has decided or is not interested in launching Pixel phones in India. Overall, I like this phone and I would not hesitate to recommend it to my friends and relatives, barring some of the cons that I have mentioned earlier in this video. If the rear camera is your highest priority, then gravitate towards the new Samsung Galaxy S22 series. But again, there is a significant price cap difference with those ones. Also, Motorola should actually promise 3 years of Android updates, I feel, because flagships actually do that. But again, I would say this is the new value flagship smartphone for India as of now, and currently the most affordable smartphone that comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor. So guys, this was my review of this Motorola Edge 30 Pro. What do you guys feel about this one? Anyways guys, if you are still not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. This is Ranjit and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care guys.